Welcome to part 2 of Where in the World is Atlantis, a look through the Akashic Records. Now, the Akashic Records is a field dimension realm, however you want to think about it, that keeps track of all information about space. The way I do it, I'm speaking with the masters, loved ones, and teachers of that specific thing I'm looking at. It could be a person, it could be a place. So let's go back to the Richât structure. So the Richât structure is in Mauritania, which is right here in the west coast of Africa, and it looks like this. So one of the main reasons, or there's a lot of reasons why people think it's connected to Atlantis, but one of the main reasons is because when Plato wrote about Atlantis, he described it as being concentric circles, 2 of land and 3 of water. So if you look at this shape, circular shape, looks like could have been concentric circles. It kind of looks like an eye of a hurricane to me. And then this elongated shape here kind of makes why they call it the Eye of the Sahara. There's lots of information about this. You can look it up, go to this website where I got this image, or you can look on YouTube. Bright Insight has a good video, and there's lots of other ones. So the reason I looked up the Richât structure in the Akashic Records is because I had a past life in Atlantis that I saw through hypnosis, and I was looking up this past life in the Akashic Records to find out the locations where this past life was lived so I could look it up on my astrocartography chart. And now, one of the locations for Atlantis that the Akashic Records gave me was the Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, which is also in the west coast of Africa, but it's here. So the southwest coast of Africa. Well, not southwest, but you know what I mean. It's a bit lower, further south. So when I looked at the Richât structure in the Akashic Records, I was asking if the Richât structure is connected to Atlantis, and like I said, it sounds very old, very deep, very masculine, like an old wise wizard. However, it said that the Richât structure is not connected to Atlantis, and that this dome shape was caused by energetic disturbances from above and from below, but that we weren't ready to know exactly what that meant yet. You can make your own assumptions. I have mine. It said I couldn't share those assumptions though. However, I did open the records for Mauritania in general, and Mauritania's records did say that there were Atlanteans living there, more along the coast though, and not quite as far inland as the Eye of the Sahara. And it felt like smaller communities, kind of like just the scattered smaller communities that might be in between larger communities or capitals, probably at different times had multiple capitals, because Atlantis was known to be an advanced civilization, and if you're going to be advanced, it's going to take a long time to get there. So the capitals probably moved throughout its history. So because in the Akashic Records I got Ivory Coast for a location for that past life in Atlantis, I was looking around on the internet at the Ivory Coast, find out there's very little research on the Ivory Coast compared to other parts of Africa, and why is that? But also found this image, which is the Basilica of Our Lady Peace, which is very new. It was kind of opened in 1990, which is very recent, but look at this shape. Does anyone else find that suspicious? So circles, I was just like, circles, people use a lot of circles in design, especially, has a lot of meaning, has a lot of energy. But I was just like, concentric circles. 3 of water, 2 of land. This is odd. And also this basilica holds the Guinness World Records for largest churches in the world. Why is that in Ivory Coast? Even when you look it up, it says that it's hardly ever full, and it's not even the official Catholic church in this area. So I opened the records for this church, this basilica, just to ask. I didn't think I would find anything, but what I asked about if there was a connection between the construction and design of this church and Atlantis, it said there was. It said that the design of the church was channeling the energetic blueprint of Atlantis and the frequency of Atlantis. Unconsciously, that the circles were mainly thought to be aesthetic, and The personality of this church was much younger, a little bit feminine, which was interesting. There was a capital of Atlantis in the Ivory Coast. I also opened the records for the Ivory Coast as well. And the circles hold, the concentric circles hold the frequency of Atlantis. It's not that the capital was designed in these circles, but it was used in a lot of symbology and represents the strength, power, and advancement of Atlantis. So when I opened the records for Côte d'Ivoire in general, it was a little strange because it was hard to hear the masters and teachers of Côte d'Ivoire. And I take this to mean that there's not a lot of intention put behind Côte d'Ivoire, or a lot of love flown into the Côte d'Ivoire, which is interesting. So it said that, yes, there was a capital of Atlantis in Côte d'Ivoire, time period around 15,000 years ago. It was on land and on water, or like today, there's some land left that was part of Atlantis, but a lot of it's underwater. And it would be found on the coast and beneath the water. You could not find evidence from it, but if you looked deep enough under the earth and minerals, is what it said, you might find something. And it was destroyed by land shifts and conflict. So there you have it. There was some Atlanteans and an Atlantic capital in the Ivory Coast. According to the Akashic Records, which location should I do next?